residents of Golf Vista and candidates. And to begin with, let's rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It gives me pleasure to have this forum, and it's sponsored by the Legislative Committee of the Golf Vista Estates Homeowners Association. And I would like to recognize some committee members here that are here tonight. Way back there in the back trying to hide is Sid Dresbach. He's, you may know Sid. Here's Pat Fogarty. And our chairman is Janet Zwikowski. And I'm me. Okay, we'll take questions after the candidates have finished answering their questions. We'll take questions from the audience. After we've had an intermission, and we'll ask the candidates for clerk to come up so we can talk to them. You can ask them questions. So anyway, we're going to start down here, semi-alphabetically. We might make things even up. We might jump down here at the end next or something. We'll just play it by ear, okay? Okay, for William, what would you do to bring varied businesses into town, other than fast food restaurants such as small manufacturing?
What do I do to bring, okay?
No. Stand up. Swallow it.
Okay,
Okay,
that better?
There you go.
There we go. All right. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, what would you do to bring in varied businesses into town, other than fast food restaurants, such as small manufacturing?
Basically, we'd have to make the town a place that businesses want to come to. Manufacturing is very important. It's a very good type of business to have in here. I've worked with Triton Manufacturing and a few other companies around here that came from other locations. So I think we have to promote to them that we have quality people here in town that can be capable of working for them, give them a good local base, and everything else from there. And work together with the businesses to make it profitable for them to be here, and also an enjoyment for them to be here. Businesses help the community all the time, so we have to get them here, and we have to make it a good environment for them to be here.
William, let me back up a little bit. I got my cart before my horse. Now tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bio for a couple of minutes. And you're going to be timed, by the way, with this lady here, so you get 2 minutes.
Okay. My name is Bill Bailey. I'm running for the mayor of Monee. I'd love to claim that I'm a grandson of George Bailey because we both value good government. Here in Monee, it can be a wonderful life. First, thank you for hosting this forum. This is a great tool for you to get to know all of us. I understand the difference between being a politician and a public servant. A public servant works for you and with you, and values honesty and plain old common sense. I never want to be a politician. My main goal is to build a team of equal contributors and ideas. Everyone has talents and perspectives to add to the mix, and I respect others' opinions. I do not need to micromanage when the people I work with every day have the right credentials. I have an immense responsibility to you who elect me, and that all comes down to having the appropriate information, complete information, so we know how our tax dollars are spent. Even though you in Golf Vista may not think you pay real estate taxes, essentially we all pay. So we are all in this together and we can all make it better. I feel my investment in the community has been lowered because of the closed-door style of government. I want open government, and I want a forward-thinking and forward-acting village. I have a plan to get us going again to protect our investments. None of us need someone telling us what is good for us. We're all capable of making decisions, even difficult ones, as long as they're armed with complete and truthful story. Politicians often forget that they are public servants, not the other way around. With your vote, I will be an elected official, but I will never be a politician. Here's how I know I will be good at this. First, my degree's in business. It's coupled with nearly 30 years of being in many forms of business, from family-run partnerships, corporations, and my own business. I've seen all sides, and I know that when bureaucracy invades, all progress stops. I know how to develop projects in a cost-effective manner and follow through to completion in a timely manner. I must analyze even the smallest details that are going to cost money. I respect and trust my coworkers' abilities so I can make better judgments. Being mayor requires team building and knowing how to utilize everyone's talents. Thank you.
That was good. You kept doing it 2 minutes. I was just about ready to get the hatchet out on you. Anyway, next is Mr. Farquhar. 2 minutes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jay Farquhar, and thank you very much for having this forum tonight. Can you guys hear me? I want to make sure. Better? Better?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. In spite of what people think, I don't like to hear myself talk. So, in that regard. Yeah, I know, we'll work on that. I have been an outspoken advocate for transparency, accountability, and efficiency with taxpayer resources. As an elected official, I have confronted and fought the efforts by some to keep the public in the dark. As a result of my efforts, the people were able to decide that the clerk should be elected. The packets prepared for the board is now available to the public online. My goal is to glean successful practices of other villages that simplify committee structures to empower trustees or other members of the public to research and present their suggestions and ultimately expedite implementation of desired results. The role of the mayor may be the point of contact, advocating on behalf of our community, but the trustees need to be the point of authority and accountability to the people. I have an experience base as having worked with a number of municipalities as well as legislative officials. And whereas I know a lot of times in Illinois, unfortunately, it seems like when you use the word politics, it's the punchline to all things negative about politics. And I understand where people are saying about that. It's about public service. But if you look even at the original definition of politics, it's not somebody who has many ticks. You know, that's not it. It's based on a Greek explanation of and for the people, of the citizens. That's what we need to remember and go back to. That it's about relationships and making sure that we're accountable and going to exercise your rights to stay connected to what's going on with your tax dollars and the resources thereof. I believe that as a result of the relationships that I've established over the years, we have put ourselves into a position of making those things more accessible to us. When you're looking to attain grants, when you're looking to get certain things accomplished, it's always useful to have those relationships well in advance. I've got a number of years working in the regional business community, having served on the executive board at the Southland Chamber of Commerce, served on the...
You're up, sir.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to come back to you in a little bit, and after you do your bio, we'll talk about this first question that I asked Mr. Bailey, okay? Go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know me as your duly elected mayor. I've been in a position of mayor now for 4 years. Prior to that, I was a trustee for 3 years. When I got elected by the folks in town, I believe they had confidence in me, and I could show you, in fact, that we're physically sound. We don't owe no new debts have been brought forth. The projects that you've seen going on, the water mains, elder lanes, they're all paid for. There's no bonding going out. But getting back to what I inherited quite a mess. And just like maybe a second marriage, sometimes it takes a long time to clean it up. For 2 years, I operated without an administrator. For 2 years, I had to get rid of certain people, the auditors and whatnot, because they had no accountability. We now know where the money has been, how it's being spent, and to tell you the truth, it was being spent awful loosely. I know for a fact, I signed every check, payroll and bills that come throughout this municipality. I also made sure that what's being spent is necessary, more or less a need, not a want. There are certain projects that we have to prioritize. Everybody wants streets that are clean, holes that are patched. There's been many, many issues about park buildings and whatnot. And as we go through this, I'll be happy to answer anybody's questions. Once again, all I can say is, I am not a politician. I'm kind of bold, and I'm sorry for that. But I'm not going to dance with anybody. I'll happily sit down with anybody. I don't have that mindset to do that. And our town is now at a point that we're going to be able to grow even more. There's many businesses that I've been sitting down with that I really can't come forward at this time. We, as a community, must grow to survive. To get in these political battering back and forth, I'm sorry, I don't have the talent for that. I don't have the patience for that. But for the people, I look at all of you as a family, inside this community and outside this community. Thank you.
Okay, back to you, Jay. What would you do with this question? What would you do to bring varied businesses into town, other than fast food restaurants, and such as small manufacturing?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to have a relationship with the, let's say, the Illinois Manufacturers Association and things of that sort. I do have a good working relationship with a number of businesses in the region. And one of the things you need to do is make sure that you're reaching out to, let's say, the Southland Economic Development Council and things of that sort, where you have the relationship with the people that are identifying the opportunities and bringing the businesses to the region. The other thing you do is you look at your infrastructure and you make sure that not just saying we make the community business friendly, but you take the steps necessary to actually have a plan to achieve that. You can't just shoot from the hip and say, I think we could do this kind of business over here or this kind of business over there. It's critically important to make sure that we are looking at what our potential is. Identifying the fact that we got a good workforce. One of the things the manufacturers are looking for is they're looking for a qualified workforce. And that's one of the things, reliable, consistent, local, that's important to them. So as we identify what we have as a workforce, that's a good selling point for our community. But the other thing is we actually have to look at it from a marketing perspective. We have to market our community. We can't just sit back and wait for businesses to come to us. We have to reach out and find out where they're at to bring them in.
Okay, very good, Jay. Dan, same question. What you touched on it a while ago, but give us some more on this thing about businesses.
Well, everybody knows I'm pro-business. I have had attempts to sit down with many people for this municipality. And everybody knows we've gone through a traumatic time in this country. To get businesses to sit down with you, you have to offer something. When I took office, we didn't have a contract with Aqua, Illinois. You couldn't even put a barber shop or a beauty parlor because they weren't able to hook up to sanitary systems. After 3 months, I believe, or maybe 4 months of my term, I settled a contract with Aqua, Illinois. Rates did not go up. It's a 20-year contract, and it costs nothing. Where the prior administration spent $500,000 and never even got to court. That's our first step. So the people that we do get the opportunity to sit down with, they have to have a clear vision. They're not going to come to this community if you have something that's going to suck the life out of them, like a super Walmart. Everybody was always waiting for a super Walmart. And as long as that was sitting on the horizon, it was threatening to other types of businesses that want to come here for like a grocery store. Something of that nature, because they're not going to invest $6 and $7 million in this community if that type of a big box business comes along and sucks the life right out of them. It's going to kill their business and all the other small businesses in town. We have to have a vision. I agree with Trustee Farquhar. You have to reach out. But first of all, you have to find out who's out there and who's available and who's interested. And there are some out there. I get a little bit upset when I hear people, say another burger place, another fast food. That's tax. And to have somebody come here, like this last one, Culver's, that's a $3 million project. It's bringing stuff that we've never had here. We've never had ice cream and all the other little incidentals. I won't be apologetic for doing that. I won't be apologetic for any small business. You have to crawl before you get up and walk. It's easy to sit here, and if you don't know the intricate parts of this municipality as far as their budgeting, their accessible cash, what's already set up in the budget, there's a lot more to this than just, thank you.
Okay, Dan. Okay, let's go back up to William, Bill, that'll work. I just think of a song when I think of your name. But anyway, next question. Would you be willing to work to get the intersection of Egyptian Trail and Court Street changed?
What do you, Egyptian Court?
Egyptian Trail and Court Street.
You could change it. It would probably make sense over there. I don't know all the streets by the back of my hand and everything else. Yes, I've been driving around. I've lived here for lots of years. Sort of like a lot of people out here, I know how to get places just by going there. Egyptian Court, over there should probably be something done. I mean, it is a hazard. We'd have to look at it. I mean, right now you got the whole project going on in Egyptian. So that probably should be something that should be considered.
Okay. Jay, you know the intersection we're talking about?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, we had one of our trustees that was recently involved in an accident there. It's a very unfortunate situation because of the amount of traffic that goes across there. Unfortunately, it seems at a rather high rate of speed, and we have trucks using the road there quite a bit. Buses are constantly flying up and down the street there as well. The issue comes into play is, what do you do to deal with it differently? And that's currently being assessed right now by some engineering firms. Tech 3 was originally hired last January. They were given the contract to work on Egyptian Trail in phase 1. The portion of the intersection study has actually been awarded to Sam Schwartz, I believe is the name of the engineering firm, on that, and that is being assessed. There's various ways to deal with it. Whatever the solution is, it will have to be IDOT approved. And I suspect it could be any number of things. One of the ones that they had suggested, one of the engineering firms that we had dealt with before, had indicated the possibility of making Court Street on the other side, on the west side of that, be a cul-de-sac, instead of allowing that to be through. Not a lot of people are liking that because of the difficulty of getting into that whole part of the Highlands. It could end up being a four-way intersection. It would slow traffic down, but that's another consideration. So yes, it does need to be addressed. It's a safety issue. We need to find a safer way to deal with it, and frankly, that is on the table and it is being addressed as we.
Okay, Dan, can you comment further?
Absolutely. Egyptian Trail, we've been awarded a $2 million grant. In 2014, they're going to start tearing it out from Monee Manhattan Road all the way down to 50. There's signalization going in right now at Monee Manhattan Road and Egyptian Trail. Now that whole road's going to have curb, gutter, sidewalks. It's going to be 3 lanes all the way down to Court Street. Court Street will marry into that with the new asphalt that's been poured at this time. At Main Street, just south of Court, it's going to go to a 2-lane. It's going to carry its way down. It's an 80-20 grant. We have to come up with approximately $400,000. We have that in TIF money that we can use because it's contiguous with a TIF. We don't have to use general revenue to do that. So yes, in fact, we've had engineers that are doing multiple configurations, which is most beneficial for the people that live in that subdivision. The people travel up and down Egyptian Trail from Peatone back toward the expressway. And the project's in the making right now. I'm glad to announce it to you.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
You're welcome, sir. I didn't say that. I said you're welcome.
Don't scare me like that. This third question, I think, is very important to the legislative committee. And we'll start with Mr. Bailey again. Do you have plans to create any activities for the Monee youth, such as an active park district?
I like being first all the time here. An active park district, when I first moved here, we tried having a park district. It takes a lot of manpower, it takes a lot of people. I would definitely want to be talking to the baseball people and the organizations right now that are running things. It's a big commitment of money. The village has to step forward if we're going to have an actual park district. It would be great to do it. But it's been tried before. We have to make a full commitment to it. We can't do it half-heartedly. When I was first moved here with my sons and that, we did it all volunteer. It was tough. Okay? Unless we make the commitment in the dollars and we're ready to do it, there's no sense in trying it. It's a very expensive proposition. Okay? I'd love to see it. Right now, we got a pretty good situation with the baseball teams and the football teams, those organizations. We definitely want to get them involved in it. The baseball looks very nice. I've talked to a bunch of guys involved in it. They're very gung-ho on it. A lot of the kids are. I've got a lot of friends that have kids, and they're very active in the situation. So it is a great idea, but we all got to get together, put our heads together, and really think if we really want it, and we're going to be committed to it for the long term. We can't just do it on a short-term basis.
Okay, thanks.
Question, gentlemen?
Yeah, do you have plans to create any activities for the Monee youth, such as an active park district?
Yeah, it'd be my desire and plan to re-implement the Parks and Rec Commission that had been there, that fully engaged. I know that some of the trustees that are running with me have had experience with that, and I would trust that all of us working together, we could make something happen in that regard. To clarify though, the issue of a park district is a separate unit of government. I personally am not necessarily in favor of a park district as much as I am engaging the village in a Parks and Rec Commission that would actually afford us to not have the redundancy of another level of government, which is more tax dollars, and it's easier for us to just implement programs within the village. And actually, the Parks and Rec Commission that we had previously was set up so that it even allowed for 2 of the officials on there to be from outside the village. So it does allow it to be greater than just the village proper. And by all means, that is one of the key things that I'm interested in doing, is seeing a program that would be put together, not just for the youth, but for the seniors and other things as well. We need to have that type of a possibility for people to get engaged. And one of the things that we're doing is we're building a strong team. We've got a good team of candidates that are running together. And it's our goal is to work together, each of us having our different areas of expertise and influence to make it happen.
I'm always last.
I'm always first.
Very good.
Golly, kid,
Jay's
you
in the
wanna
middle.
fight over it?
Don't start that clock yet, please.
Absolutely. We have to look at all means for the children and the seniors in the parks. Once upon a time, there was money coming in from the builders. The builders would put $1,000 aside for every house that they built. It was called an impact fee. After they built, I believe, 150 homes, 159 homes, we had $159,000. But that burns up very quickly for many, many things for Bunny Brunchtown. And I appreciate what Trustee Farquhar said and what Mr. William had said down there. But I've been around a while. I've been involved with everything in this town. As mayor, I've been out there to bunny brunches. I've been out there to baseball. I've been out there with the football, donating my time for them because I love this community. I have not seen them there, but the people that he just said's running on his slate or committee, I don't know what you want to call it. It's time to see who's been putting up, not just for a political seat, who's been there all these years through Fall Fair and every other thing for the kids and the seniors. And I'm just not going to capitalize anymore on that. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Okay, those were the 3 basic questions we had for you candidates, and now, audience, you can ask questions of the candidates, but raise your hand and make sure that you have a mic. Here's our mic guy running around here. He'll get you one. Ask some questions. It's open for you guys.
Okay, what do you 3 guys plan on doing for this seniors in Golf Vista? I know Dan, he stands up for us. Dan,
You got to make it so the audience can hear you also.
okay. Dan stands up for the seniors in Golf Vista. And Monee. He does everything. You go to him, he's right there to help you. You had in the country marketer, Mr. Bailey, beat the mayor of Monee. You're not mayor yet, we haven't voted.
You have a question?
So you
Yeah,
jumped.
You have a question?
What's your question? Why would you put that in the paper when the election's not here? And it says, meet the mayor, Monee. You're not mayor yet.
Still, what's your question? You asking a question of the candidate?
Okay, what are you guys going to do for the seniors in Golf Vista?
Thank you.
Dave, we need the microphone.
Did he take your mic?
What I want to do with seniors in Golf Vista is basically work with you. I know you have situations here with ELS, yourself and the village. It's a very interesting situation because you are the only community in this area, or in the village, so it's unique. I think we should have, I know there's some situations going on, I don't know all of it. I'd love to read the contract. I mean, I'm coming in here, I don't have all the information, I don't have all the background. When I do get involved in something, I research it. I get involved, I get people involved in it. We get everybody together, we get some common sense approach. We get people from this community here, we get people from the village, we get people from the corporation, whatever. We all got to come down and sit down and have a meeting and put the ideas on the table and figure out what's best for all of us. Not just anybody, not for the corporation, not for the residents, not for the village. It's got to be for everybody. We are all part of this community. You are a very vital part of this community. So we need your input. I see this whole group here as a massive resource of talent and knowledge that I don't think we're using. And I'd love to have you get involved in government.
This is not a good.
Do we get to answer the same question?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
has.
okay.
Are we okay to proceed? I think, first of all, Golf Vista is a jewel within our community as far as an opportunity for people to find a place to, sorry. I think Golf Vista is a jewel within our community, and it's great that we have this here. It's an opportunity for people to find a comfortable place to live in their senior years. But you're not the only seniors in our community. And there's a lot of seniors outside of Golf Vista. Certainly we have a higher density here, and I'm grateful for what we have right here. This is wonderful. There are a lot of things that I think could be done to give the seniors an opportunity to participate in the community, not just have activities for the seniors, but have activities that the seniors can help participate in. I would love to see a mentoring program for the youth, after-school programs and things of that sort, where the seniors can be involved in it. I would love to see an opportunity to, for instance, I was just talking to one of the seniors over here recently regarding, would any of you be interested in maybe being a coach or a referee for the baseball association, things of that sort. Sometimes they have a hard time finding people to participate at that level because they're busy with their own, the things that are going on. There's a lot of things in that regard. I recently had a conversation with a gentleman from AT&T that is looking to do some technology workshops for the seniors. And that is something we could bring here easily, so.
Thank you. I'm a senior. I know what you're going through. I know the threats that you live under at this time by ELS. Some people want to go along with it, that's fine. It's a democracy. The people that don't want to go along with it is not fine. I'm there for you. I will stay in a position as strongly as I can without violating the law. If they want to see us in court, I know the way. But I'm fighting for you and you and you. As far as things with the parks, absolutely the seniors should be involved. Absolutely have talent. And absolutely sometimes in the past we tried. But not people came out. We used to we go down with Mr. Dresbeck and Betty to the quarries. They like to gamble. And we need to go back there. But I think right now in the forefront, we have to make sure that your community is sound for you to live in. So where down the road, you won't have 35-year-olds, let alone 45-year-olds. To me, as long as I'm mayor, that's not happening. Thank you.
More questions?
I would ask one question of the group. In your negotiations, please be aware that whatever you do, or whatever ELS does, we people here in Golf Vista are caught right square in the middle. So watch out for us.
Mr. Dresbeck, I have sat down with ELS and the people that are intimidating people in here. I've had conversation more than one time, meetings. I understand that the impact falls upon you. Either way, you're caught right in the middle. You could be a victim one way or a victim another way. As a community, you guys need to come together, not just your homeowners association, as a group by numbers and take this on, and I'm there with you. I understand, Mr. Dresbeck, that this comes down to you. I don't have no option. I have to stand up and fight for you, and you, and you.
May I also?
My question is about a grocery store in the village.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
What?
We didn't get it
Well, that was really
here.
just a statement.
I know. If I may, I just want to address this as well. I understand that the current mayor has been an advocate for the seniors in regards to the contract issue and all that as well. But I also want to bring up the fact that I also have taken a similar position. The difference being is instead of just making it one issue versus another, be it 45 versus 55 and all that sort of thing. And frankly, there's a problem in the sense that, and I had a very good conversation with Francine Poole, your new manager here. And I want to say this, there's some things that even with your previous manager, there's a downfall in thinking that the only remedy to a situation is to lower the age. One of the things you have to deal with is the people that are looking to help secure a place for their parents to live in some cases are going to be people closer to my age or younger. And we're using the internet to search for, you know, a resident area like this. And one of the things I think we need to do is, and I was talking to Francine about this in follow-up to the conversation from last fall, is that we need to make sure that we're encouraging ELS to do the right thing on your behalf. If that means lowering the rates, that's just like lowering taxes. You get more revenue by having a greater base. If they need more revenue in here, the best way to do that is to lower the rates if necessary. And remember that this is a community that people signed up for that was intended to be 55 and older. Now, if they're looking for an exception, in my opinion, if they're going to get any exception, if they're going to get any exception at all, and I'm not saying they should or they would, first of all, it has to go to a public hearing. That never took place. Because when you have an issue that's pertaining to changing an ordinance, a special use that was put on this property, it'll have to go for a public hearing. And that public hearing would affect all the adjacent property, people along Court Street, people on the backside of Will Center and along the Corporal, all those property owners would have to be notified, and that never took place.
Okay, thank you, Jay. We had a lady who was standing up here with a question.
I asked it already.
What was it, your question?
Are there any plans for a grocery store within the community?
I'll take that. I can't tell you who I've been sitting down talking to, but I can say I have been talking to grocery stores. I can also tell you that there's a piece of property that's been purchased, hopefully, for a site in the very near future. Once again, that depends on economics. A lot of people right now are a little worried about building a grocery store because the hospitalization that they have to pay for their part-timers, and they're changing the age. So they're looking at their numbers too, and they're waiting for a more sound economic balance in the nation. We, the village, has purchased a 5-acre parcel. We made 2 parcels into one along Egyptian Trail, Monee, Manhattan Road. That could be for any kind of a project, but that's really where I want a grocery store to go. And we named that Egyptian Trail subdivision. That property was purchased by TIF money, not by general revenue. So yes, we have a location. Yes, I've had sit-downs with a couple of stores. No, I cannot tell you, but I will be the first. Who would want it more than me? Definitely, we're working on that.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Any more questions? Because we are going to take a break here pretty soon. Hello? Ms. Fogarty?
Wait for the microphone.
Well, you need
Mr. Bobo, would you please explain again what's going to happen at the Egyptian Trail and 4th Street?
Okay, I can get loud, I'm used to this. Egyptian Trail and 4th Street, right now is being looked at by a couple of engineers. There's different kinds of configurations. As far as going, let's say for an example, that little curve in the road wasn't there and they wanted to hook left going south. It's just too hard for anybody to turn. It's too narrow of a road, it's going to be 2 lane. They've talked about turning Court Street going west beyond Egyptian Trail into a cul-de-sac. That will make too many people over there too happy. So we're looking for options with the engineers, and when it's going to be done, Mr. Jimmy Pop is going to be the first one to figure it out because he's in Road and Bridge. I assume, I'm just assuming, I don't like to promise or assume, in the very near future, we'll have that information from the engineers. There's multiple ways they got to come up with the best example or something that we can look at and sink our teeth in. Right now, it's a dangerous spot. If they leave it there, it'll be a great place for the veterans to have a can. But, yes, you'll get to know very shortly when I get it from the engineers. I go public with it because it's important to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tovo. Do you think it's time for us to take a break so we can get the candidates for...
I was just having some fun.
Got another question back here? Yes.
Currently, I know we have a full-time village clerk. We also have a full-time village manager. Do we need, I mean, isn't that kind of redundant?
You're asking me directly?
I'm asking all of you.
Well, since I'm the mayor, I think I'll take that one. People don't know that a clerk is separate than her duties as an employee. The clerk gets I think about $4,800 a year just to be the clerk, the keeper of the records. That's all she does for that. Keeps the trustees out of trouble, comes back from Springfield with the updated laws, makes sure that the bonding on the properties that developers have doesn't evaporate, that have to be renewed every year like the last administration, $3 million worth, where the clerk was supposed to every year update them. Now getting to the administrator. Every municipality except for Monee has had one. Monee under Timothy O'Donnell, I will say, they terminated their administrator. He had 4 years left in his term. So his sense of punishment was to say, well, you trustees terminate him, then you run the village. It created chaos. Trustees are elected officials, they're liaisons between the people and the other elected officials, not supervisors. I hired an administrator, a well-qualified administrator, about 2 years ago now. I ended up in the hospital. I was just doing too much time in there. I was trying to be an administrator, run a village like you should run it, be accountable, physically sound, and I had to break down and it broke my heart to spend that kind of money because I am cheap, ask anybody. But it is necessary to have somebody in tune with other communities. They have meetings with all other administrators around. I have meetings with all the mayors, so sometimes we all meet together. He's an asset that has saved us much money. Because of him, our legal fees have gone down. Our legal fees were high, very high, because we had no administrator, so we had to turn to our attorney, and he was, you might want to say administrator pro temp, but he's not skilled in administration. Mr. Wallace is one of the best investments I made for our community. He is a professional, and his interest is for everyone. He doesn't live in his town, but to him, this is his town.
Okay, would either of you other candidates like to comment on that?
As far as people here working, I've known a lot of the guys in the village for a bunch of years and that kind of stuff. And if I'm elected mayor, basically, you want to come in, you want to find out the talent you have. There's a lot of talent here. You want to address the situation. Is the administrator necessary? Basically, you'd have to sit there and find out what's the job description, what's the function, what is he actually doing, okay? It might very well be that we need an administrator here because of the size we're getting, because of the issues and the complexities. But as a new person coming in and being the mayor, you'd have to sit there and analyze it and look at it and see where we're spending our money and make sure we're spending our money in the right places, okay? So basically, that's what I would do. I'd look at all the employees, and a lot of them know where everything's at. And you keep those kind of employees, you keep the good workers. I'm not saying, not coming in, there's no whole hog firing, there's none of that kind of stuff. You gotta really look at the talents you have, look at the resources you have, analyze those resources, and then proceed forward to the best, with the best people for the benefit of the whole village.
So you were asking about both the office manager, the clerk, and administrator. I want to confirm that. Okay. All right. Pertaining to the clerk is not a full-time position, as the mayor indicated. The clerk is merely a part-time position similar to a trustee in regards to the amount of time expected to be put in and such. Compensation is the same as a trustee as well. The problem we run into is the fact that currently when you have somebody serving in dual roles, it's hard to delineate where the one role stops and another one begins. For instance, there's been times where I've seen the clerk at grand openings, but I believe that she was there in a position of clerk, but she may have still been on the payroll as an office employee. Things like that. Trustees or other elected officials go to those things. There's not that possibility. You're not going to have that take place. The fact that your current clerk is also your office manager, they're distinctly separate. If the current clerk is not elected as clerk, she'll still have her job. There's not any question about that. She'll still be a full-time employee of the village. That's not going to change. The issue is do you want to have a measure of accountability, checks and balances that are outside of a single household? That's really what the question comes down to on everything. Pertaining to the administrator, no question in my mind. If the village is going to move forward, we have to have a full-time administrator. No question about it.
May I follow up on that? I want to mimic what Mr. Bill said down there. Since I've been mayor, if you look around, there's about 9 people not working with us any longer, and they haven't been replaced. That money's a savings. I'll just give one example, our chief of police that retired. The deputy chief became the chief. I did not replace the deputy chief. It's a dead slot. That's $70,000 a year plus benefits. I am a hawk with the money. And I just said at the board meeting the other night, I'll put this town against any municipality around here as far as how they're working. On a personal level, it's been brought up many times about the clerk. Yes, she's my wife. And yes, I love her. And she is put in a position, a harder position than anybody else. And you women should know to take, as you might say, employment orders from your husband when you would take it at home. Her job is to serve the public. My job is to serve the public. But for people who don't know the history, Mrs. Tovo, the clerk, has been there for 12 years. 5 years I sat in the back of the room watching because I didn't want to sit at home. I wanted to be with my wife. And I watched how it worked and I wanted to get involved. Now when I was elected mayor, should she have been terminated from her job? No, I don't think so. If she's deficient in her job, the administrator will deal with it. It's a quasi-military is what a government at this level is. Everybody's got a job to do, and when they're doing it, they have a job. And I don't want to get any further about who is not here any longer. If you're not doing your job, I don't owe it to you. You are messing with the people's money. If you come to work, on time to work, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, you got a job under this administration. If you don't, you're out of work. If I don't have to replace you, we're saving more money. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
As the candidates probably know, Pat Fogarty is one of our main liaisons in Springfield. And there are numerous bills that come and go through Springfield regarding manufactured homes. As mayor, do you think it would be appropriate for you to lobby Springfield on our behalf for bills that we support?
Is that to the mayor or all the candidates?
All the candidates.
Well, since I'm the mayor, I'll go first this time.
Absolutely. Many times, Pat Fogarty, along with many other people, have been in Springfield because I need to move around. I come down in my own vehicle. We all remember Debbie Halverson and Lisa Dugan. We all lobbied them. The bottom line, I think, this Fogarty knows this, you can do a lot more at home. Collectively, we go down and lobby them on lobby day, the trustees. Some of them go down to profile their position as a trustee rather than to lobby. I agree with you, sir. There's strength in numbers, you can lobby, you can get with other communities that have the same problem, lobby collectively. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a thing that we need to be involved in. And there again, that's part of the reason why I think it's important to find somebody who's already fairly well familiar with the people down in Springfield or even Washington to make sure that you're not just trying to say, well, yes, it'd be a good idea to help, but I really don't know anybody and I don't know how. It makes a difference when you elect somebody that is already familiar with the people that are down there.
In my business with HVAC stuff, manufacturing housing has its own set of rules, and you got a lot of restrictions. I understand that. Some of them come all the way down, all the way up from the federal government, and they make absolutely no sense. We need some common sense. We need somebody lobbying for you, definitely. There's got to be some rules and regulations changed because basically your hands a lot of times are tied because of regulations that were made somewhere else, way far away, that have no bearing here. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, we're going to take a break. We got 10 minutes. Is that enough there? Okay, 10 minutes, and then we're going to have the candidates for clerk come to the front, and you guys will be able to ask them questions.
After this, if you want to talk to me, bring your questions to me.
By the way, everybody, let's give these candidates a break.